going into the presentation, what we did, as Glenn has pointed out, that all of this happened very, very quickly. So that's fine. From getting things started in October, and our first meeting was in November, I believe it was. It was interesting because a lot of us that were involved in the party obviously weren't previously involved with the party, and a lot of us didn't really have a lot of political involvement backgrounds as well. So one of the things that we took down to take was to try to understand. We all have our own impression of why we want to be involved in the party based on what we see, what we've heard. But what is the general membership, or what is the regional interest as far as North Vancouver membership, and maybe more broadly with the Vancouver membership? What are people thinking? What are they saying? Why are they attracted to this party? And beyond that, what can we learn from that that allows us to communicate this message to other potential members and voters? And that was something we wanted to undertake. So what we want to do is get membership engagement, to reach out, to talk to our membership, and try to understand this better. And specifically, we wanted to understand what the top issues from a national level and also local level, what are the issues for North Vancouver. And from that, we could also try to develop some election strategies as far as like key points that we could focus in on. So, you know, things that may be relevant to Quebec or the Maritimes may not be all that relevant to BC or Vancouver. Let's try to narrow it down to things that will get us the best chance of having a candidate win in this area. What we did is go old school with a series of cold calling. So it was a couple hours a night of calling out members for over a period of about 2 to 3 weeks before Christmas, and then follow that up with the remaining membership that wasn't contacted by phone. We did some emails to get their interest and inputs that way. We were quite reasonably successful given the nature of this. Most people really don't answer the phone much these days. And we got 40% input from the membership. So no, it doesn't mean that 6 people weren't home. We actually got quite a few members in this area. And as Glenn pointed out, it's like 35,000 in a very, very short time. So even in North Vancouver, we have a substantial base that I think the existing parties would be very surprised how large the membership really is in North Vancouver. So what I did is I took all the notes that were, obviously every conversation is different, and you try to distill that into some themes, the major themes, and that's summarized here. We'll go through that. One of the things I found interesting is that there's a lot of pent-up frustration. These are obviously people that are maybe not politically active, but politically interested. This is why they would actually join a party as opposed to sit on the sideline and vote when it's time. So what we found is that they came from a broad range of backgrounds, as Glenn's pointed out, all kinds of parties. And they felt that they were not being serviced by the existing parties. They were not being serviced by the media, the academics. There's something very wrong, something very broken. It compelled them to join this party. The top issue really falls under the theme of immigration. And I thought that in some ways that was kind of surprising, because a lot of the immigration issues that we've seen really directly impact Ontario and Quebec with the border crossings there. In BC, sure, you have high home prices and things like that, but it wasn't really the border crossings. What came out of that is that they were all very, very strongly stating that they're not racist, they're not anti-immigrants. They support legal immigration into Canada. And that's a very clear statement. This is something that's misrepresented in the media all the time, and it's really a shame. So it's important to communicate that as you're talking to your friends and family and co-workers about the party, that the base really supports legal immigration. But they want to do it in a way that one gets things under control. They want to stop the flow of illegal immigration that's coming to the country, and also the economic migrants that are flowing to the country. And also prioritize that the immigrants that are coming in are here in a way that serves the interests of Canadians first. So times change, needs change. Right now, we have to be more selective in the kinds of immigrants that we want to bring to this country. We want to respect the laws of the country. We think it's unfair that the immigrants that are coming through other channels are essentially queue jumping the legal immigrant applicants that are going through the proper channels to get into the country. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why there's a lot of frustration about this. And it doesn't help that Trudeau spent $1 billion of unplanned spending to accommodate this inflow of economic refugees coming across the border. The second issue is grouped into general theme of fiscal responsibility. They want lower taxes. They want smaller government. And overall, it's about having the government focus on the small but very important themes that help all Canadians. As well, the counterpart to that is to eliminate the corporate welfare, supply management, and special interest spending. By doing that, we should be able to lower our debt, reduce taxes, and have more responsible spending overall. So this is really sounding a lot like what Glenn has presented. So what the party is saying, it really is reflecting what the membership wants. So it's an extremely good fit. And the last point, as Glenn also pointed out, is free speech. Getting governments out of our lives, get them to focus on the things that provide a solid foundation for all Canadians, and allow us the personal freedoms and personal responsibilities to carry about our own business, as we have for a long, long time, except for the last maybe 20, 30 years, where it's really gone downhill. It's time to kick back our freedom and accept our responsibilities again. And the third group is all of the other things. So some things I thought would be higher up, and actually went much, much lower. And things like the carbon tax issue wasn't really that big a deal. It came up a couple times, so it wasn't really high on the list. Preserving Western values, maybe it was hot points there, but really what this means is that there are actually a lot of immigrants that have been here over the generation, myself included, that have left their home countries to get away from oppressive regimes, fundamentalist regimes. They've come here, they settle in Canada, they appreciate the freedoms that they have in Canada, and now they see a reversal of that. They're losing their freedoms. The baggage that they escaped is coming into their backyards. This is what they're talking about. So, Western values, what is Western values? It's your freedoms, it's your equality. These are the things that are of value and worth saving and fighting for. Lastly, pipelines. Pipelines was, it came up, but it wasn't a big deal. I think part of that maybe in North Vancouver is that we don't have the pipeline in our backyard, so it hasn't been a big deal. We're certainly not Alberta, where it would be a very big deal. So that's lower down the list. And there are some gun control and hunting advocates here, so there's always, particularly up in, when you're further out of the city, or people that have coffee country and things like that, there's some hunting rights that there are issues there as well, but not a big. So just concluding, the good news is I felt that all of the inputs reflected what the party was trying to stand for, so it was an extremely good fit. Basically, federal government should look after the common interests of all Canadians and not be fragmented to essentially this diversity theme here. What they want to do is the other parties want to create diversity. What they mean is they want to create division. They want to create special interest parties that want something from somebody else. And that creates an opportunity for big government to come in and save the day by offering something for every special interest group. Taking money from this group to buy something for that group, tax this group, get something for this group. We have to do away with all that and focus on just the things that matter to all Canadians only. And with that, the members want fiscally responsible government and far less intrusive federal government. And really, it gets back to the themes. Stay with me. It's all about freedom, responsibility, fairness, and respect. That's what we expect, and that's what we're going to be fighting for. And with that, I just wanted a final reminder again, if candidates that want to come forward or names, please send them to me, and we'll chat to you folks later. Thank you.